Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Joy of Puzzles. Today I have for you Office Space. The Office Space puzzle was published in 2020 by Spin Master Games. Spin Master Games was founded in Toronto in 1994. Their website tells us a success story of two college friends who have grown their small business into a publicly traded company in Canada. And through growth of their own product line and acquisitions, they have become the second largest manufacturer of games and puzzles in North America. Not a name you may recognize, but they certainly make lots of products you know. I just picked through their website briefly, and the one that stuck out to me was Etch-a-Sketch. They have also won 28 Toy of the Year awards while being nominated for over 100 of them. And like I said, it's very interesting to see how many brand names they currently own and toys that fill the shelves of your toy stores and Amazon that fall under these guys' umbrella. I included a link in the comments to their website, and it's an interesting story. Now, the artist in this case is also unknown. It is a movie poster that I'm making. The image is of one of my favorite movies, the Office Space movie, but there is an addition to the original poster. The poster does not include Milton. Milton is played by the very talented Stephen Root. And if those of you who have never seen the movie, the reference will be lost on you, but I do wish I had a red stapler while I was making this. So the credit for the image has to go to 20th Century Fox Film Corporation. The movie came out in 1999 and probably wasn't a blockbuster at the time, but it is definitely a cult classic. It's one of my favorite. Whenever I happen to catch it on cable, I always want to watch. And while this isn't a review for movies, it's hard not to review the movie at the same time. This puzzle was really an impulse buy because of the movie. I was there just a couple weeks ago at the store and said, "Oh, I love that movie," and I saw the box and thought it was clever that it was the basic size of a VHS tape. For those of you old enough to remember renting movies that came on cassettes, and they even put the name Blockbuster on the box to really sell the idea that this was a VHS tape. So, yeah, it was an impulse buy, and the truth of the matter is I regretted it. We'll skip down to some of the particulars as to why I might have regretted this before I get into the strategy that I used to build it. So let's jump right into the review. As usual, I review every puzzle on a scale of 1 to 5 in 4 distinct categories. So the first category is the puzzle material itself, the quality of the material, and this is a 3. That's just where it should be. The puzzles are durable, don't feel flimsy, image is bonded well to it, the construction of it is nice. The next category, though, is the puzzle cut quality. And I'm going to give this a 2 because there's a lot of this puzzle that you can put the wrong pieces together very easily. They're the exact same shade, so that makes it challenging in itself, the greens and the whites. And the pieces are such that, yeah, I probably could have fit it in 4 different spots and said, yeah, that looks good, but ended up knowing better based on experience and taking it apart and going at the problem another way. So cut quality is going to be a 2. Difficulty. This is way out of proportion considering that this puzzle is only 500 pieces. I have to give this a 4. The end of the puzzle is a horrible, horrible grind. The hunt and peck, one of the worst I've done in quite some time. So I have to give this a 4. Yeah, I was tempted just to not finish the puzzle on a couple occasions, or just put a piece of white paper there and say, look, it's done. No one would know the difference, but I would know, so I built the whole darn thing. Frameability, the most subjective of all the categories. I'm going to give this a 3 because I really like the movie. I would have loved to have had this poster in a dorm room or something of that nature. I don't think I can hang something at work with the subtitle there that says "Work Sucks." I think Bob and Bob would have let me go for having that kind of attitude. Overall, I'm going to give it a 2. It was way more difficult than it should have been. This 500-piece puzzle took 7 hours to build because of the grind of the plain white color and the green. So, all that being said, we'll talk about the strategy. And it was brutal. So much hunt and peck at the end that it was painful to deal with. Started out as, oh, let's do the border, and then quickly realized that there's the slightest changes in hue for that green color, so really didn't have much confidence in the border. And you'll see on the right hand side I take that apart several times. I then decide that the only way I'm going to solve the border problem is probably at the end of the puzzle, which is what happens, and I'm going to use the white pieces with the little bits of green to help me figure out what the correct border is supposed to be like. Yeah, my son came and helped me here at this end here and took the last easy piece out of this puzzle, which was, well, easy is a relative term, this complete rebuild of the border using the white and the green pieces in concurrent steps, and after that it's just the grind. So the actual strategy was the border, which couldn't get done, and then it was the red lettering, easy pieces to find. Then I built Milton there, or Mr. Stephen Root in his very famous role. And then Mr. Post-it. I built his border, the yellow pieces where they intersect with the white trim, and then went back and filled him in. And even that was a bit of a grind. You could get some hints to the orientation of the piece by looking at the actual notes written on the little Post-it notes to see if the text was in the correct orientation. And yeah, that was guesswork too. Couldn't always be sure. The picture is small enough on the box that can't be positive that I have put the right piece. And so after all that, the border gets done. I do the worst thing, the thing that I really hate, and that is, not only is it the hunt and peck, I then sort every type of puzzle piece by like shapes. And I think I end up with 6 different styles of puzzle piece. And what you do is you find the one odd shape. You find either a tang, a hook, or you find a corner with 2 prongs in it, and you grind and grind and grind. You test every piece that has that feature until you find a fit. Because they're white and no change in hue, it's the equivalent to building a monochrome puzzle. This is the same strategy you would have to use if you bought one of those puzzles that was a single shade, or the cheaper way is to flip a puzzle over and just build the brown side. This is the process you would use. Every piece grouped. I tend to put them in the same orientation, so I know that I've tested it. When I test the piece, I put it back in a different orientation so I don't lose my place. I also work my way around the puzzle when you're doing a non-distinct piece, and then try it in as many defined places as possible. So because of the puzzle cut quality, I couldn't just work my way up and down the lines, the edges that existed, because you wouldn't be able to tell if the piece fit there properly or not. You really had to have two edges defined before you could be sure that the piece went there. And then once in a while it would go in little spurts, and I would not consider smashing the puzzle and throwing it off the table and never publishing this video, but after so many hours of working on it, I had to do it. There was no way I was going to let myself not finish this puzzle. So all that being said, this is just a terrible grind for a 500-piece puzzle to come down to 7 hours of hunt and peck in the worst way. If you do stick around for the end, you'll see that I still take this puzzle apart and put the edge pieces in a plastic bag. If someday I have a lapse in judgment and decide I wanted to do this again in utter frustration, then I've saved myself 20 minutes of sorting pieces that I won't be able to assemble till the end of the puzzle anyway. The odds are slim that that's going to happen. Maybe I'll loan it to somebody as a cruel joke, and they can come back to me later and say it was the worst thing they ever did. If you like the puzzle, if you like the video, if you like my narrative and the story that goes with it, please go ahead and click the like button. I appreciate all you folks that take the time to sit through this and watch these videos. This was a buyer beware. I won't go and put a review on Amazon, but it's something to consider that I regretted my impulse buy. You know, sometimes you can judge a puzzle by its cover. I should have known better. I didn't. I caved into my nostalgia and my fandom for the film and picked up a puzzle that I wish I didn't own. Alright, well, enough of that. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Bye.